Bu Nator Shil Yachad Nuwabakedi Waloi Maorwo, the pledge of the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors. Ama Kakdemu Sefunut Hade Gedash Manuf, as I stand beneath our sacred and holy flag. Kanderu Ruki Maul Ke Kehikano Ama Kashgeru Zitaur. I vow to be loyal, obedient as I watch it fly. Ru Ganunwu Shil Manu Naonut Faref Nawus Weloinut, to the laws of our Constitution that govern our nations. Ru Hare Sabu Kahmelu Tubu Subhem, to this cause I hold my head up high. Akara Garur Kantero Ru Harus Hade Tahum, with pride I pledge to protect and defend. Kalu Akara Hare Walao Weloy Kalu Hanuf Hade Samur, all within this great nation, both family and friend. Ru Yankud Faref Karetkut Mu Adorhut Agoyu, to ensure all has their equal rights. Ru Hare Sabu Kazur Gedu Atnachum, to this cause I will lay down my very life. Ama Kapdemu Tachuth Haresan Un Hade Gedash Danun, as I stand beneath this sacred and holy seal. Kanderu Nafusum Mewa Chelas Hade Kazut Menu Kiat Mewikanu Akara Khera. I vow myself loyal, sincere, and vow integrity with zeal.
So sitting next or sitting behind your front, so sitting next, you might be sitting next to Black Devil.
It states in Psalms chapter 82 verse 6, I have said ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
This is the Elder Raziel with a message for the children of the Allah.
I walked a long journey on the short path, where after this mind expands, math itself came through with the master teacher. Get wealth from what I have to teach you, not a preacher. The Anunnaki created this creature, fully packed with features. NUWABU, knocking off leeches. Peace to Malachi, Ziyor, Noble Jew Ali, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, respect and pay homage from the NUWABIAN tribe. We hope to see you. We still kicking the flows, all the girls know. Just list the show so your mind grows toward a genetic explosion. X out whoever was chosen by deception to sell out Negro, the greatest destruction. Without question, knowledge is a weapon. Like Cain, ain't no half-stepping to a greater direction. Rit Nalej Radio. This is your host, Tutashima Hedokayu. And today is year 83, the month of Hansul, first week, second day, Tashu Antum. All right, so now we got the official date for the nation, and we are the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors. We're not known by any other name. I know the Sabians are trying to cause a lot of confusion for years, and no, we haven't changed our name. If you left the origins of a thing, you have a different nature now, right? As we've been reading in the 9 Ball, how you identify yourself has a lot to do with your existence. You know, who you are in your mind, not who you actually are, but who you are, how you identify yourself in your mind, you know. So let me give the Gregorian date, July 12th, 2024. So we are going to continue with part 7 of reading the 9 Ball. Count 3 sections, C through D. All right. So as we're reading this, I need you guys to also go back, look at the other lessons that we read through on here. And at the end of this whole series, there's going to be a prize to win a hardback cover of no, hold up. Yes, you're gonna win a hardback cover book. The Man from Planet Risk. I don't know why I got a brain fart right there. Yeah, The Man from Planet Risk. So we're gonna end up doing that, and I hope you guys appreciate that prize. So let's hop into it. I think I gotta. Okay, yeah. Here we go, right here. So we start off each show by using the all or using all. We are the all in all as Nuwabians. So again, this is called the Nuwabkedi Monuthbat. All right. Here we go. Idem Kabderu Ashutwaswo Kelawo Hade Banzun Sendior Kebo Timta. I begin all praise and thinking by using all. While kum zahuba kebo at your maedbi kebo timta. I'm in divine love of all. Hade at your maemne kelaulemne wukum, and all divine love is in me. While kum farugemne kebo timta. I am part of all. Hade kebo timta farugedbi wukum, and the all is part of me. While kumashed akara kebo timta. I am one with all. Hade kebo timta ashed akara kem, and the all is one with me. Ke kelu karwedetu kike farugedbi kebo timta. I can succeed as part of all. Hade rohu kike faro yudemne, and fail as an individual. Ke kelu kahweseu kelul feraf kahfizu kebo timta. I can accomplish all that I wish in all. Kike kike chafuzyum ru'atmud kebo timta. As long as my wish is to remain in all. While kum dulach asherafe, I am never alone. Kebo timta haklenu kaklenu. The all exists, I exist. Kebo timta hekelu kekelu. The all can, I can. Kebo timta habmilu kapmilu. And we have our national pledge. All right, which is called the Naturedbi Bu Newabkedi Yachad Waloyedbi Maur. Kike Gapgemu Tachuth Manu Net Temne Fedof Sefan Have Gedash. And I stand beneath our sacred and holy flag. Kanderu Itmawila. Hade im yakeku kike kanzerezu z dot edu. I vow to be loyal, obedient as I watch it fly. Be ganun wued be manub naunet ferof dot feru weloinet, to the laws of our constitution that govern our nation. Ruhare sabubemne zahmelu tubuzyum hem. To this cause I hold my head up high. Garuremne zanteru ruharus have tahom. With pride I pledge to protect and defend. Kalulemne akara hare waloyemne welawemne. Kalu hanufedya Hade Samuredya. All within this great nation, both family and friend, Ruyankur Feraf Kalulemne, Hagoy Hetemne, Mu Adur Hetemne. To ensure all has their equal rights. Ruhare Sabubemne Kazurgedu Anohumemne huerta. To this cause I would lay down my very life. Kike kabgemu tachot hare danunemne sefanemne hade gedashemne. As I stand beneath this sacred and holy seal, kanderu itmawila ib matoy hade kazuth meno itamia akara ghera. I vow to be loyal, sincere, and I value integrity with zeal. All right, now let's get into the 9-ball. Like I said, we're reading count 3, C through D. And I hope we've been keeping up with what the 9-ball is. You know, it's the sun, the circle of space, matter, and time. Because if you read the nature of nature, and there's one called the spring of nature and the winter of nature. And there might be more books out there too dealing with the space, matter, time circle. So this is like vital information. If you want to get into the sciences, I would definitely recommend reading the whole HTM Supreme Mathematics books if you're going in that direction. You know what I mean? But this is the foundation of everything. Before the religious schools, before all that, it was the teaching, because doctrine just means teaching, right? You know, doctrine just means teaching. So the teaching of Dr. Malachi Z. York, Nuwabian, as he's known in the Nuwabic language, he came to give us NUWABU first, not Wusabat, Sabianisms, or whatever that is. He came giving us NUWABU, right? So let's continue to read with 9 equality, and then we're going to read section D, and then we're going to wrap it up. Okay, here we go. Section C, 9 equality. 9 equality is the Ethiopians' equality. Equality in general is one person or persons possessing something of the same amount or same value as another person or persons. But equality in particular is each race thinking, doing, and possessing what is inherent for it by nature. In other words, each race on the planet is heir to the highest in nature in proportion to its richness by nature. That is to say, since the Ethiopian is richest in comparison formula, the formula that grew the race, then it is heir to the most and richest properties in nature. By the same reason, since the Caucasian is the poorest of all the races in composition formula, then it is heir to the least and poorest properties in nature. Therefore, such is equality of races by nature. Okay, now, side note, I don't read this before I present this to y'all out there, you know, fellow Nuwabians that we share fellowship with. I don't read this. I read it, I get thoughts, I tell you guys, and I keep reading. You know, the master teacher says keep reading. I wrote so many books, I don't know how you guys have time for anything else. Keep reading. You know, keep understanding, keep reading, keep overstanding. So anyway, back to verse 22. He says, equality in particular in each race is thinking, doing, and possessing what is inherent for it by nature. Now, when you look at the so-called black people, if they're so rich in the formula that created their being, then why are they in the projects? And I'm not saying only black people are in the projects or they're poor, but the media makes it look that way, and the way the women and the men, the young ones especially, Generation Z, they're just making so-called all black people look very bad. Now, is that the natural nature, or were they grown out of like commercialism? You know, the commercials they see, the rap, the disgusting rap. Now, I love hip hop. There's good hip hop, and then there's this horrible hip hop, right? Like dudes who just do it for a check, They don't care who they brainwash. They don't care who they influence when they're on the TV or when they're in the studio recording their songs. Some of them can't even talk, but they trying to rap, it must be just for money. And black people will hold themselves for money. We've seen Sean Puffy Combs having sex with men and women. And I think that's why J-Lo left him. She's seen him doing some weird stuff, and she's like, this Boricua girl is out of here. You know what I'm saying? So I don't blame J-Lo. I don't blame her. You know, Marcus Houston, Immature. All these dudes is having sex with each other. That's why Tupac talked about it. You know, Dr. Dre was having sex with dudes. You know what I mean? Like, they all do it, man. They all do it. I hope Puff didn't have sex with Biggie. I'll be mad, man. Biggie was ill, man. So anyway, count 23. The foregoing is scientifically true because if a being has a rich nature in makeup, physically or mentally or both, that being needs things in nature that match his or her composition. If the being has a poor makeup, it needs properties in nature that match its composition. It may be put this way. Since the Ethiopian race mental capacity is 999 of the perfect number 1000, and the Caucasian race mental capacity is only 333, we need and have the capacity for 3 times as much knowledge in quality and quantity than the Caucasian race. In other words, 999 information is required for our perfection of mind, and merely 333 information for Caucasian perfection of mind. Thereby, we Ethiopians are capable of becoming 3 times as powerful as the Caucasian is in his perfection. However, Caucasian perfection is in death, and Ethiopian perfection is in life. 24. Moreover, the mentally dead Ethiopian wants to be equal with the Caucasian, but no one in his right mind wants to be equal with the white man, because that means being an equal liar, equal thief, equal slave master, equal murderer, equal vagabond in the earth, and an equal fugitive from justice with him. Equality in particular for a person or race means having what is due by nature, and this natural equality for the races is not necessarily equal in amount, quality, or degree. For instance, Africa is for us Africans at home and abroad, and Europe is for Caucasians at home and abroad, but the two continents are neither equal in size nor riches. Hence, that's why all these Caucasoid nations are always in Africa. And the French are still in Africa. I think Mali, actually the country of Mali, they switched their national official language to an indigenous language, and it stopped being French, I think last year, which I was like, get them Caucasoids out of there. They still foreigners over here, what they call America. Okay, verse 25. Furthermore, real racial equality is not a status quo where the Caucasian respects and treats Ethiopians as he does his own kind, because this is false hopes, for Caucasian nature will not allow him to really do this. Therefore, true racial equality is each race having necessary brain power to maintain its own proper survival and well-being. Social equality by nature is not one race intermingling with another to see how nice and friendly each can be and how well the races can miscegenate. But true social equality by nature is people of the same race intermingling with each other as equals without the class stigma. There's always going to be a class stigma, even internally, but I know what he means. In other words, everyone in the same race should be equal on social terms. Class levels came about through evolution of mankind. Well, that last clause right there, I mean, there's always been Moorish leaders, kings, and people who ran empire. You know, the Zulu, Shaka Zulu. They've always had some type of, you know, I'm up here, you might be down there. It doesn't mean your life is any. Well, the value of your life is dependent on your title and what you can do. Your value to someone else. So there is a value on your life. And class levels have always been there. Anu is the highest of the high, you know, within this sector of the universe, you know, and there's people or beings below him. So I don't think class levels came about through evolution of mankind. I think that thing needs to be updated. Okay, 26. Races are not supposed to intermingle on a social basis because this is a prelude to destruction of the races through miscegenation. If the races have business together, let it end there and keep the races pure as possible. By keeping the races pure of mind and pure of kind, helps to keep them equal to the degree they should be by nature. Economic equality does not mean one race should possess the same material things the other has, for Ethiopians are much richer by nature than Caucasians, meaning Ethiopians' economic potential, as in Africa, is much greater than that of the Caucasian in Europe. Hence, real economic equality for Ethiopians is having the same wealth in common in our own economic system. I'm so glad Nuwabian said this. He said races are not supposed to intermingle on a social basis. And then in verse 25, it's good to go false. So make sure he talked about the dead Moor wants to intermingle with Caucasians. Oh, he says, yeah, it was 25. He says social equality by nature is not one race intermingling with another to see how nice and friendly each can be. I hope y'all heard that. That's not equality. You know, to see or Caucasians trying to study other people, you know, because of white supremacy, which doesn't even exist. White supremacy doesn't exist. That's another spell that they got the Negro under, right? That you're more superior than me, when the master teacher Nuwabian just told us we possess more brain power by nature. They're better killers by nature. They don't have a lot of brain power. They just kill. You know, they couldn't tell one tribe from another. So they just said, oh, we're too stupid to figure it out. We're just going to categorize you guys as black. We don't know your languages, your customs. It's too old for us. We can't think back that far. We're not that smart. We're just going to kill and take the gold and rape the women. You know, some Saxon stuff. Well, not just them. It was the French and the Spanish too. So we got to wake up. You know what I mean? We got to wake up. So 27. By same wealth in common, we mean necessities of life of all Ethiopians have access to as we need them and in the amount we need them. That is to say, each draw from the wealth in common in the amount of his or her natural responsibilities. One may have more natural responsibility than another and thereby need more. But if one eats well, we all eat well. If one has a nice place to sleep, we all have a nice place to sleep. And if one has nice clothes to wear, we all have nice clothes to wear. This topic gives a brief description of what Ethiopian equality is like, which is equality by nature. 28. Another note on equality. tells us that racial equality also means each race should have its own land, own economy, own armed forces, own language, own educational system, and own culture and heritage in general. This is true. This is the true meaning of racial equality. And speaking of educational system brings us into the education equality. It should be one of the educational requirements that the time a student finishes ninth grade, he or she must know what he or she is planning to be. So by the time that student finishes high school, he or she will be prepared to enter with confidence and qualification into a chosen career. That's true, because you could waste a lot of time in college and a lot of money. And these colleges, they want your money now. They don't care about the educational part. That's why there's so much student loan debt. What is it, like 1.5 trillion? 29. It is the inefficiency of the Caucasian educational system that children can go through high school and almost through college and not yet know what they would like their occupations to be. If a child has talent for a particular occupation or skill, by the time he or she finishes ninth grade, it should be showing. It is the obligation of parents and teachers of the children to help the children decide what is the best best career for each individual student and why. The school system should be required to compile an occupation or career chart which lists the various trades and professions suitable for males and females, and the requirements and qualifications for each occupation should be available. We repeat, the student should be prepared to make his or her choice of career by time ninth grade is complete. I totally agree. Okay. 30. When a woolly-haired person graduates from college today, almost always the big thing he or she has in mind is to find a good job. A good job. We need to find a good job, right? And stay on the job, getting promotion to retirement from work, and then good retirement pay. Now, let me stop right there. I didn't grow up with this. I was born in 1980. By the time I got in the workforce, retirement was... I've never planned for retirement. Never. I plan to invest. I've always invested, but I never planned on retirement, And that's a concept that Nuwabians, I don't even believe retirement exists. I think it's some stupid Caucasian tactic to get you to give away your life. And then when you retire, you got 5 or 10 good years before you die, right? So then they don't have to pay all your Social Security. It's a cold game. The Caucasoid is a cold beast. And plus, anyway, it's a Ponzi scheme. Y'all know that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme, right? Because Ponzi schemes, the first investors who give the person the money for the scheme, they're the ones who get paid out first. Because once the second wave of investors come in, all you're doing is giving the money that you got from the second wave of people, and you give it to the first investors, right? And then when it all collapses, the people come at the end, they just get messed over, right? Because there's nobody below them that they can get the money from. Same thing with Social Security. You pay into Social Security, in the 1940s, I think it started. You pay into it, and then when your kids start working, your kids are paying into it also by force, right? You don't have a choice if you're an employee. You pay into it by force, and then your parents, when they get old and they retire, they get the money, right? It's a Ponzi scheme. Same thing a Ponzi scheme does. So you're operating under a criminal government, basically. It's criminality at its best. Let's continue reading. Any Ethiopian person should realize that working for Caucasians is helping the Caucasian to oppress and repress Ethiopians. Because doing Caucasian work makes the white man richer. And if he is richer, he is stronger to oppress us. We Ethiopian scientists understand that when a person has no job of his own, He has to work for someone. But what we are saying is why work for your enemy all your active life. Why work from all? If you have to do it temporarily for a couple months, couple years, do it. Get enough money to start your own business and learn while you're on the job. 31. One of the prime purposes of an Ethiopian college graduate should be to help build black communities, Moorish communities, to respectable and self-supporting level above the slum status. And one of the best ways for the college graduate to help do this is to pick the kinds of subjects during attendance at college which are suitable and workable for building economics in the black communities, and after working for the Caucasian, if necessary, for a while. Let's say somewhere between 2 and 4 years. And having saved money enough, that woolly-haired person should go into business for himself or herself. Yes, go into business for yourself. This is one way for us to equalize ourselves with other races by equalizing our community with those of other races. We Ethiopians must intelligently control all businesses in our neighborhoods. And the best way to do this is by doing all the investing. I just talked about investments, right? In this paragraph, we mentioned the college graduate as an example, but the same holds practical for any Ethiopian who desires to do this well for self-income. 32. Of course, equal education with other races for our children and adults alike is equal culture to that of other races. For us woolly-haired people to receive the same education that Caucasians get is not equal education for us, for that Caucasian's education. Education created by mentally resurrected Ethiopians is more than equal to all other educations. If the education we receive is created by other than our own kind, and we don't have our own, no matter how much of someone else's education we may get, we cannot have equal education until we have our own creation. Anyone else's education in the absence of ours makes us inferior in education because we cannot use an alien education as efficiently as the creator of it. Woo-hoo! Master teacher dropping gems. He dropping orbs. Basically, if you didn't create it, it ain't for you. If one of your people didn't create it from your race or tribe, it ain't for you. It ain't for you. We don't need alien education. All right, 33. In count 2 of the booklets, the 9 ball, and in the topic, how to economize, we mentioned several gimmicks the Caucasian uses to help keep us poor and unequal. At this point in concluding this topic, we mentioned another one, and that gimmick is the one known as credit. Pause. Now, when I moved out to the land of Nuwabian in Arizona, I don't use no credit. You know, my stuff got charged off. I don't care. You know, they tried to lower my credit limit because of the economy. They started cutting a lot of people's available credit. And you know what? I'm like, you know what? I ain't even going to pay this no more. Just charge it off. I'm never getting another credit card again. And life is much better when you know you don't owe somebody else money, except for like monthly bills. But I don't have no monthly bills. I haul my own water here on the land. I got food, gas, cell phone. I got and insurance. I got car insurance. Yeah, those two. But besides that, nah. Credit, that's the stuff that keep you a slave. So let's go on. What does the master teacher Aminu Birachta have to say about credit, the Caucasoid invention? Credit is a Caucasian gimmick which will make you overspend, and this is because you don't have to pay cash for the merchandise right then. Not having to pay cash right on the spot is very deceiving because you still have to pay for it anyway, plus the carrying or credit charges. We should buy on credit only as a last resort. I say don't buy on credit at all. You should have set up your life to where you've saved some cash. We should buy on credit only as a last resort. That is, if it is a commodity which you need and must have right away and do not have time to save all the money necessary to buy the item cash. Otherwise, save and buy what you need on a cash basis. This is why we buy less, save more, and become more economically equal with others and more economically independent as an individual and a race. Now, so-called black people have a big problem spending. Big problem spending. I don't know what it is in my generation and everybody after, but we got a huge spending problem, especially not keeping the money in the community. Hold up, check 1 2. Okay, there we go. We are back. We are back. So let's keep dropping. Let's keep hitting them here while we read this. It's important that we put this out into the universe. You know what I mean? Let me put my volume, put my voice a little higher. Okay. Now we're on section D after a little short break. It's called welfare and unemployment. I think we're going to read the verses 34 through 44. So, capitalism is an economic system that breeds poverty, and especially for its captives and oppressed. It is the nature of capitalism to produce hardships. Capitalism survives on slavery and war. The American Caucasian could have prevented the welfare state he has created for darker people in the United States of America, but the welfare state is one of his gimmicks to help keep the captive controlled. When a person is on welfare, the Caucasian feels he has the right to control that person's life in every way because the person has become a beggar, therefore placing himself or herself at the economic mercy of his or her oppressor. In other words, the person has become completely dependent on the enemy who wanted to see his captive in that position in the first place. Pause. Personally, well, I know that capitalism does not breed poverty because that's how the United States became one of the richest nations in planetary history on this planet. Slavery is not capitalism. Capitalism is based on free markets. You got something to sell, I got something to sell, a market is formed. You know, there is no slavery in that. So, I don't agree with this whole, I don't agree with the whole verse here. Now, the Caucasian has never been strong enough to prevent poverty. So this sentence right here could have, the American Caucasian could have prevented the welfare state. No, he couldn't have. No, he couldn't have, because in every country there's poor people. In Africa, in Asian countries, Vietnam, Japan, there's always going to be poor people. But poor people in America got it a lot better than people like in Mexico, El Salvador, Nigeria, Ghana. If you compare the poor people over here to there, the poor people over here look rich. They look wealthy. You know what I mean? Where I put my water at? I don't know what I did with my water, y'all. I have no idea. Okay. But that's a little side note, my thoughts there, because this like white supremacy with Frances Cress Welsing, I don't believe none of that. There's none of that. That's maybe she feels inferior, you know, and she wants to give praise to her Caucasian master. As far as me, I don't see the supremacy. I don't see it. So, you know. Okay, 35. The Caucasian rejoices to see woolly-haired people on welfare and any other dependent position, because how militant can one get on welfare? True. How dependent can one become on welfare? One reason the Caucasian let such great influx of Ethiopians into his civil service jobs during the last decade is because the worker has to swear his alliance and allegiance to uphold Caucasian government, which means uphold Caucasian way of life. How militant can one become who has sworn to help maintain his employer's domain, and his employer is the government which oppresses him? That is to say, welfare, civil service jobs, unemployment, etc. are Caucasian gimmicks to force the captive to cater to the whims and wills of his oppressor. One on welfare is on his or her knees to the Caucasian. A darker person who is unemployed and wants to survive in Caucasian society is usually prone to be used against himself and his own kind by the oppressor. Okay, verse 36. The white man knows if a person, male or female, is satisfied to get on welfare rolls and stay there without making sincere effort to lift himself or herself from his condition of poverty and dependence on others who unfortunately are the person's enemy. That person is unintelligent. That person is a dumbass. That's what it is under the Neteru, the Naftiaru. You're dumb, for you have not followed your nature. So it's not just Negroes on welfare. It's Caucasians too. You know, Caucasians, a lot of them struggling too on welfare. You know, using dope, committing suicide. So I would say it is a class thing. It's definitely. Sorry, something stuck in my chest. A noogie or something. Excuse me. So I think if you do stay on welfare, now we're just talking about our people. We're not talking about the Caucasian being on poverty. We're disappointed in our people. When we look at the TV and we see people acting unintelligent, unnaturally, then either you're with these ignorant people or you start to separate yourselves. I've chosen the latter. Dr. York chose the latter. We move as Nuwabians now, not as black folk or Negroes or coloreds, or y'all can keep that. I heard that's the Sabian thing. Y'all can keep the nigger stuff. You know, keep the nigger stuff. Because niggers are unintelligent by nature. And that's the way the Caucasian created you. You're not going to create you to keep up with him. That don't make sense. Okay, so the Caucasian is using the welfare state to try and romantically unite all unintelligent Ethiopians for the purpose of producing and perpetuating unintelligent offspring, that the Caucasian may form a permanent slave state, because what is required for a permanent slave state is permanent slave mind, which the unintelligent have. The Ethiopian race does not need more woolly-haired people in quantity. The race needs more woolly-haired people in quality. Those who are capable of liberating self and keep liberated and preserved. Exactly. That's what Nuwabians are doing. 37. Another reason for the welfare state which the Caucasian has created for dark peoples is the trick of making the females of other races independent of the males of their races. And this means that the females of our race will look up to the Caucasian man as her provider and protector and the one who has all the sense. When the female knows that she can quit her husband and get on welfare, this situation provides unnecessary broken homes, which is extremely bad for raising children, because there is no father in the household to do his part with and for the offspring. A responsible adult male is needed in all households that contain growing children, especially as a model for the male offspring. That's true. I mean, anybody can agree with that, right? That you really need, someone to show a young man how to be a man. That's the problem in so-called black neighborhoods today. All right, 38. The welfare trick helped make tramps of our females. If a single girl knows she can get on welfare as soon as she gets pregnant, she is not likely to try. She's not likely to try very hard to keep from getting pregnant. And once she has one child, she is likely to have more. And then there is a household void of a responsible male to act as a provider and protector. And these conditions help keep us captives mentally and physically to Caucasian civilization and serfdom. Because the mother can teach her offspring only what she knows, and all she knows is ignorance the oppressor wants her to know. There is an old saying, educate a male and you have an educated individual, but educate a female and you have educated a family. Because the female usually spends more time with the offspring, caring for them, teaching them, and training them until their lives are fully set. Alright, 39. Unemployment is as much a part of capitalism as vegetation is part of nature. That is to say, poverty, unemployment, captivity, and war are all the nature of Caucasian civilization. If someone has to be unemployed in Caucasian society, they make sure that the greater number and percentage of the unemployed is among the captives, the scapegoats, and adjusting tools for what goes wrong in Caucasian society. One reason unemployment is so high in Ethiopian communities is that the Caucasian has replaced many Ethiopian factory workers and tradesmen with aliens from other parts of the world. And the oppressor did and is doing this because woolly haired people are more militant now and are not the good working slaves they used to be. Therefore, Caucasians replace us with aliens. For aliens are less militant, better workers, and in many cases they work for less pay, plus the fact that unemployment tends to bring the militant Negro to a dependent on Caucasian position. What Noble Geraldi said, it takes finances to raise a nation. 40. But we Ethiopians can solve our own welfare and unemployment plights by following the old adage, if you want something done, do it yourself. Because if we do not solve our own problems, if we not solve our own problems, they will never be solved. The complete answers to our problems is creativeness. That is, we must become able in mental power to create whatever we need. We can do it ourselves by shifting our minds from a state of imprisonment and ignorance to a state of liberation and knowledge. And this will give us the confidence in ourselves, the courage, the determination we need to rely on ourselves to do what needs to be done. For example, we must create our own jobs while building up our own communities. When a person of Ethiopian community goes and gets a job, he should have a definite plan in mind that he aims to put into action. The plan should run along this line. Work, save, and at the same time learn as much possible about the business or trade he or she plans to practice after saving enough money to start the self-employment, which could be in the form of partnership with another or others. To do the things that need to be done for ourselves, we must have creative minds. But as Negroes, we do not have the creative minds necessary to be masters of our own destiny. Read, understand, and practice the information disclosed in these booklets, and you will survive and succeed if you are Ethiopian by race, Moorish by race. The booklets, the 9-ball, contain the do-it-yourself solution to racial and captivity problems. 42. Another thing about welfare, it helps males shun their responsibilities, and thereby they become lazy and worthless. If a male knows that if he impregnates a female, he does not have to take care of his responsibilities as a father unless he is very intelligent, that male is neither likely to try very hard to protect the female nor himself from irresponsible parenthood. In addition, in the topic mind and sex, we should have mentioned the fact that loose sex, uncontrolled sex, undisciplined sex increases the chances of catching VD, venereal diseases, such as syphilis, gonorrhea, lymphogranuloma, to mention just 3. Loose sex helps spread VD, and VD is negative forces that destroy us by causing heart disease, insanity, and deformity of offspring. VD is mankind's malady or malady. VD originated in Europe. Loose sex, venereal diseases, irresponsible parenthood, poverty, and unemployment make the road to our liberation longer, rougher, and tougher. 43. Being mental captives as well as physical captives means that we are also economic captives, cultural captives, and sex captives to mankind, and the Caucasian God of Christianity is not going to liberate us from these miserable conditions, because how can God tell us how to live if it is not living itself and is not human? That is personified in some person or race of persons. If God is not human, it cannot be of our nature, and therefore cannot tell us our true course by nature. God is the ghost, represents poverty, poverty for the Ethiopian race. It symbolizes dust and desert for us. Dust and, I think it's to say, it symbolizes dust and desertion for us. Alright, this is 44. Of course, we now can know God as God in ghost. Of course, we now can know God in gas is ghost, and God in flesh and blood is Caucasian race. Therefore, the posterity of God, the ghost, and the one it loves is the Caucasian race. Hence, it will never liberate Ethiopians. We Ethiopian scientists can reiterate, no one can liberate you mentally or physically anyway. You must do it yourself by accepting and practicing liberation information, which is presented in the form of the booklets known as the 9 Ball, and also Bible interpretations and explanations by Amadou Bidarachta, a teacher of us scientists who write these booklets. We can only present these booklets to you. We cannot compel you to accept and adhere to them. Your intelligence must do that, and it will if you have enough of it to survive World War III, which is going on in many ways right now. Conclusion. Pretty much just getting deeper into what we read in Count 2 of mind and sex and in economy. You know what I mean? So we must be intelligent by nature. For those who aren't, we must lead those who aren't of our tribe and our nation. You know, but they got to be willing to be in the nation. You know what I mean? Or it's not going to work. It's not going to work. As soon as they're challenged about their nationality, their culture, their tribe, and they feel, okay, there's a certain psychological trip you take when you go from being a Negro into a Moor, and then I guess if you want to become an American Moor or a Nuwabian Moor, you know, NUWABU, being a citizen, you have to speak the language on the basic level. You know, you have to speak it on the basic level. So if you're not willing to take that step, you're pretty much BSing. You're full of crap. You don't really want to do it. You just want to not be called a nigga and looked at as a nigga by the Caucasoid. But it's not really about how the Caucasoid looks at you. It's how you look at yourself. And there's no amount of paperwork to free you from the system. Freedom comes from here. Comes from here. You know, no Moorish Taj Tariq Bey paperwork is gonna free you, or any other Moor for that matter. You know what I mean? So I'm glad you guys came to the show today. I really appreciate it. This is the heartbeat of our nation. You know what I mean? We really I love doing that. You know, I love the sound effects. Let me get another one in there. Yeah, we gotta sound the alarm. These Negroes, they slave minded. You know, for Nuwabians, this will not work because it's against our nature. But anyway, we're gonna be out. I hope you guys enjoyed the reading. If you got any questions, please leave them in the comments.
So So sitting next to you, or sitting behind you or front, so sitting next to you, you might be sitting next to Black Devil.
It states in Psalms chapter 82 verse 6, I have said ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
This is the Elder Raziel with a message for the children of the Elohim.
I walked a long journey on the short path, where after this mind expands math itself. Came through with the master teacher. Get wealth from what I have to teach you. Not a preacher, the Anunnaki created this creature, fully packed with features. NUWABU, knocking off leeches. Peace to Malachi, Ziyor, Noble Jew Ali, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Respect and pay homage from the NUWABIAN tribe. We hope to see you. We still kicking the flows. All the girls know. Just listen the show so your mind grows toward a genetic explosion. X out whoever was chosen by deception to sell out Negro, the greatest destruction. Without question, knowledge is a weapon. Like Cain, ain't no half stepping to a greater direction. The architect. Yeah. They let my pen just glide. Dealing the cars, raising the stakes. Speed rounds real slick. I see the oil, toil till my foes boil. No chicken for you. In botanical gardens, I'm making veggie soup. Forget what your homies say. What you think about that? So-called rappers sound the same. Up to me, you come short. Or I'm pressing the board before you dress up a court. You forgot like Biden, so you better not write it. Longer can chumps hide and let my pen just glide. With the blue collar, we off the chain, just like Rob Wallace. No crowd us while we doing our thing. You get dizzy sober. My busy Cardoza, I put work in with my blue collar. We off the chain, just like Rock Wallace. No crowd us while we doing our thing. You get busy sober, peace by busy Cardoza. If you wanna move the house, ladies brands and blouses, pajama party go hard. Spit bars ahead of stoners, rappers and the retards. Say what you say in 3 bars, can't get away too far. You wanna be a star, put your ashes in the urn. Some folks never learn. Then you wake and think, battling me, all will go extinct. Let the Matthew stink. Right down the sink. You ignore the facts. With the wax it is recorded on. My word is bond. Release lyrical arms. You better stay out of harm. I put work in with my blue collar. We off the chain, just like Rock Wallace. No crowd us while we doing our thing. You get dizzy sober, beats by busy Cardoza. I put work in with my blue collar. We off the chain, just like Rock Wallace. No crowd us while we doing our thing. You get dizzy sober, beats by busy Cardoza. Busy Cardoza on this one, y'all. Send Mood the architect. Still build the castle for Queen Hatshepsut. And I'm out.